we've got 7 o'clock straight up. Okay, folks, let's get started. Agendas are here. Minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. Marty, would you hit the light on that? Thanks.
They were on when I went in, and so I wasn't sure whether, because people have a hard time finding
some
that.
people who do that.
Yeah.
The club is going to have to help me pay for the add-on to my solar system. So it's only $200 a month, so I figured the club can help.
How much is your?
$200. It has nothing to do with the club. It has to do with the jacuzzi.
Uh-oh.
And the electric
That's
heaters.
a lot of it.
Huh?
Well, I thought solar was supposed to make it cheaper.
No, it's supposed to make it greener.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
taking a lot of my green money.
but I don't understand where my condo, mine runs around. Actually, I signed some sort of an agreement. I keep it below 45 a month, and this month I just got notice I'll be $9 under.
Yeah, but I'm sure you're on a lifeline or some special deal.
That could be.
Yeah, I was with the first year here.
Their bill is $237.
I
know.
See what
I got a 3,000 square foot house.
What they do with
By the way, that coloring looks very good on me.
with the solar system is Edison doesn't bill you every month. They bill you at the end of the year. So I got a bill in January for $2,200.
Holy shit.
And I pay like $6 or $7 a month during the year for the taxes on the solar part of it. Anyway, so I'm having it expanded. That's Shayna. Hello, Shayna.
Hi, everyone's going around.
Chris, let's get started.
Parking places, I see all these people.
That's why I get here early now.
I know. I know,
You're
you're
parking
smart.
Huh?
That's like, I get here early now, so I can park in front.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, $300 a pop. We can do that.
Oh, you're kidding. I took your house over.
Like 10 minutes ago.
Ready? All right, folks. Coming to order. All right.
Oh, where's this? Is that the minutes are here and then?
No, I got a chance.
Oh, okay.
Minutes, agenda, and here's the minutes. Okay? And you guys can share
About these people, I think I got them.
share that with some folks. Oh, that's your copy.
Did you get?
You found it? The loose one? No, the loose
Is there
one.
anyone that didn't get a copy of the draft?
Okay. Minutes of the March 6th meeting. Everyone's had a chance to read them in depth. Any questions? Moving right along. Thank you very much. Okay.
Spelled wrong on page.
What? All right. The chair will entertain a moment to accept the minutes. Second. Favor? Opposed? Oh my God. Live from See It Now, Hear It Now. This is a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense. Who was it knows? The shadow knows.
Oh my God, where did this come from?
The 50s.
I love it.
KNX Radio in downtown Hollywood, California. My dad was in radio. So.
Madam Chair, are you calling me, Madam Chair?
Out of order, Mr. Diwali.
Selling swag, we got them sitting here making buttons. We have not doing anything that generates revenue for the club. So is our where's our esteemed membership? Was Eileen here today?
Yeah.
No, membership is Carol and Maria. Were you asleep at the last meeting?
Right.
Treasurer report.
I think our best avenue of obtaining revenue is increasing membership.
Okay. Thank you for the treasurer's report file. Okay, old business. Last meeting we just determined to establish an endorsement committee, And we have a committee report and the proposed bylaws amendments to discuss this evening. I'd like to turn over for the committee report to our committee chair, Bridget McCann. Bridget, could you give us a summary of last night's meeting?
Sure. So last night we met and we had a very successful first meeting. We actually came up with an endorsement process, and then afterwards we have a bylaws proposal for everyone to look at. Basically, the endorsement process, we determine candidates can basically request an endorsement or be nominated for recommendation by anybody from the club. When the committee is notified, we're going to send questionnaires to any candidate in their respective race. They're going to have 10 days to complete them. Once the 10 days passed, the completed questionnaires will be sent to all of the endorsement committee members for review and discussion. The committee is then going to meet and discuss what recommendations should be made based on the race and the questionnaires. Then we might have interviews depending on what we decide as a committee, so we might request them at that time. The committee will then vote on the recommendation for endorsement and will notify the executive board of the recommendation.
Hey.
The endorsement committee chair will then notify all of the considered candidates of the committee's recommendation and invite them to the next general club meeting for the endorsement vote. At that general meeting, each candidate or his or her representative, if they're not able to make it, will be able to speak to the general membership, and the membership will also be able to ask any questions at that time of the different candidates, and members in good standing will be able to vote for the endorsement. So that's the basic process we came up with. It's not set in stone. We wanted to be able to have a little bit of leeway for
Leverage.
and get leverage, and that way too the e-board can have some flexibility as well.
Let me just, before we get into discussion on it, I had a couple of things. One is that this is a recommendation from the committee to the e-board. The second thing is I think the consensus was that we want to have the maximum flexibility so we can do what we did last month's meeting, where we all were in agreement to endorse Stella. Didn't have to go through a process to do that. So what the bylaws that we just actually since our meeting, so we haven't even looked at them
Last night.
But basically, he's trying to say, and just so we consider this all together as a package, under the direction of the President, approval of the e-board, endorsement committee shall recommend to the e-board a process and procedures endorsements to include at least the following. Which campaigns will be considered, the process for reviewing the candidates, who is eligible to vote for endorsement, notification process, selection process, review and reconsideration process. The club shall vote to allocate resources. We've already had that. So in the form that's going around, the bylaws and draft bylaws are in red. So the idea is that if we, as the e-board, say, look, we want a full-on process to look at a specific race, then we can basically refer that to committee and go through it. That does not mean that the e-board can well, we say, it had said 2/3. I'm recommending we change it to supermajority of 60%. 2/3 is going to be real hard to obtain anytime.
Of the members?
Of the people present that night. So, yeah, so if we decide at any point that we want to endorse somebody and not pull the process together, we can do that. We still have the flexibility.
In there that, sorry, first of all, just a point of order, because this time you're proposing an addition to the bylaws, right? So it's in red, so you can see what's new and what's
exactly.
Old, okay? And if we were proposing to delete something, you would show it with cross up. Okay. What's on the website is wrong then. Right?
Probably.
Yeah. But it's dated January 10th, and it says, well, I didn't look again, but last time I looked, it says that we won't endorse anyone. So we didn't. Whenever
we never
said
that.
No. Yeah, that's not correct.
No, sorry, not anybody. Local. So it's not local.
We never said that. The language that's in the current bylaws is in black, and it basically is permissive. We can do whatever we want.
Okay, but someone better check what's on the website.
Right.
Okay,
we'll do a full review of the bylaws. The point of this tonight is to use this, which is the correct language as amended.
Okay, I have another question about that, because the one thing you read in there said that the endorsement could be made by any possible Something about the number of people who have to vote for a majority or whoever, that can be decided.
All votes taken under this section of the bylaws had read, all votes taken under Article XIV, which is what, 14, shall require a 2/3 vote of the members present eligible to vote. That's what was in the bylaws, which should be there now. What I'm proposing is change it to a supermajority of 60%, which is consistent with party rules.
There was something else you read. I don't have a copy of it. So
Hi, Stella.
Hey! College Board of Trustees.
Sure, right here.
Oh.
We have a special one.
It's section 3C. The committee will decide who is eligible to vote for endorsement. So
Right.
you could decide that it doesn't have to be the members of the club. It could be some other group, right?
I think that
No,
we just
it would always be
You know,
members of the
yeah,
club.
but that,
Say-
no, but Dagmar's right, it should be which, it needs to, you're right, it needs to reference, like, yes, we can, club members.
Yes.
So that, so when it comes
Right.
down to the moment that we do, pardon me,
Yeah.
that we do go to make a motion to move on this, at that point in time, what we say,
We
make
have
an
discussion.
amendment.
Clarify that.
You said, I want to make an amendment to it.
I will tell you
You're
that
right, Dagmar.
at 4:45 this afternoon at work, I
Yeah.
You-
Oh, that's all right.
The agenda of the bylaws.
Thanks for doing it. Thanks
So,
for doing it.
and that section probably should come out and be part of section 5.
Right, because part of the reason that's in there, a big part of our discussion last night was when I've been part of other clubs that have done big endorsements, is there will be candidates that bring their own people who try to join the club that night, or even previously online, and they try to stack the vote. So
Yeah.
you need to be able to have in your bylaws either flexible bylaws that allow you to make decisions for your specific endorsement process, or you have very strongly worded bylaws that are very strict to specifically prevent stacking. So either, I know from my previous club, the Burbank Democratic Club, we went and
I signed
changed.
people in. I was the one who was signing in officials because they're not only not giving their money to pay on the spot because their bylaws said that you
They're
could join the
what?
club on the spot if you were an official anywhere.
Oh, no thanks.
And then they weren't paying for it. They weren't paying for it. They said, Bill Lowenthal for this. Bill,
Right.
somebody for this.
Right.
Bill, well, they did
Yeah.
even Garcia.
Yeah,
Bill
absolutely.
Garcia for it. So that was a very bad sort of practice.
Those are the rules that
Yeah, you
they
can't-
operate under. And that's, I think, what we're trying to do here. The reason I put it as, should we determine, as part of that endorsement package, we may want to have very specific language we don't want to put in the bylaws. If you put in the bylaws, I mean, bylaw law is you don't want to put too much that constrains you. You want to have the outline of the formality and the form, but you want to have the flexibility in your policies and procedures, which is basically what the club would come up, the committee would come up with. That was the concept. The concept is to allow some flexibility. The other thing is that we haven't really talked about this before, we talked about it last night, is that in order to get more people participating, we may want to have an additional category of membership that is, an active contributor or an active participant, but not necessarily paid dues. Some people can't afford the dues.
Mhm.
So we haven't talked about it, and that's why I don't want to put, my recommendation when we get to discussion is not to put that in bylaws, but to put it in the process here and say, any bona fide member of the club, as defined by the process for this specific endorsement, then it's within the policy and procedure, not in the bylaws. That's the idea. So anyway, we present this together with the recommendation of the committee so that we have the legislative process to allow us to do what the committee's proposing.
Can you send me that process with this to my email? I don't know if you have my email.
I think I do.
Carol?
I notice it says we're not to endorse non-democratic candidates, but what do you do about races and like city races or school board where they don't run as a member of a particular party? We
Well-
may know,
The party has rules on that, and we can either adopt them in the bylaws or in the procedures to say we're following the tenets of the Democratic Party, which recognize that in non-partisan races, such as mayor of Los Angeles, mayor of Long Beach, the city races, city college races, that we know they're non-partisan, but the fact is, by practice in California, at least in Southern California, people do state their party position, and therefore we as a Democratic club are not allowed to endorse a non-Democrat. So if we know that a candidate is a Green, or if a candidate is a Republican, or is a declined to state, by policy, it's one of the few rules we have as a Democratic club. And we really have to, that has to be there, otherwise we're going to wind up the Long Beach Club. By the way, we are a chartered club, we have our charter.
But real quick, you know what, we actually will lose our charter of Democratic Party if we endorse a non-Democratic candidate.
It is the one
We'll no longer be a Democratic club.
It's the one rule that would put us
Okay,
up.
so hey, the person has to be a stated member of another party. If they don't have to state that they're a Democrat, but if they do state that they're Republican or American Independent or something.
I think it is.
No, we cannot, any non-Democrat.
We have to know that they're Democratic endorsement.
Only Democrats. By our charter, we will lose our charter as a Democratic club.
If they're declined to state, independent.
Only Democrats. Recently at the, recently, you know, Rose and I are part of the LA County Democratic Party, and recently they have put within their bylaws that they can have declined to state people be part of Democratic clubs now.
As an associate membership.
As an associate member. They just did this in the, not the previous one, but the one before. And this is like completely different.
It has nothing to do with enforcement.
But they don't have voting privileges at all.
And they have no voting privilege, they're just recognized as, like I was saying, another category of membership.
Big hit.
A participant who isn't paying the dues or isn't joining the party. Yes.
My question is, the committee sends out a questionnaire and asks that question.
Right.
Are we just going on the candidate's word? What their party affiliate?
Okay, we're back in order.
Were we ever in order?
No, I've always been out of order.
Covered California outreach.
Wait, I thought, don't forget.
No, we'll get to you. It's not on the agenda, but I'm going to add it.
I know, but.
I'm adding it.
We're not going to make it the last item, right?
Yeah, he's very.
Just do it right now.
Last item, very
All right, here we go. We're going to start with Covered California, then we're going to add to the agenda item 2 of the committee reports we usually do, or movement issues. We're going to interject an update on our goals and objectives with Laurel. So, real quick, cheers to the Affordable Care Act. Everybody.
Still saying we didn't do anything to that.
I don't want to hear what the Republicans or Fox News are saying. We have got 7,041,000 as of the hour it closed. You should know that anybody who can say that they tried to get on before the deadline has an extension to the 15th. So that number is not final.
That's a bad day.
Yeah.
April 15th?
Well,
Right?
the point is they have more, between now and then, they get through their taxes and get to cover California. So
Democrat, it doesn't like
last minute pent-up demand really came to roost. But everybody here who worked on locally for Covered California with Yes We Can, here.
We need to go back.
All right.
I didn't do it, so
I didn't really do it. I got 2 people say.
If you didn't do anything, shut up and bask in the glow.
I got 2 ahead.
I was reading today that a thing that something, a little campaign that might happen because people are allowed, if their life circumstances change, where they lose their job or have a job, etc., to sign up before November 15th, when everybody can sign up again. But the Young Invincibles are
What do you call
a
it?
national organization.
Way beyond that.
Feel they have a campaign going forward to be able to focus on getting a lot of younger people who will be like finishing college and maybe turning 27, and
Right.
they will make them aware, that, particularly during the summer, starting about then, to add a lot of young, healthy people to the roles that way. So just something to be aware of.
So Stella went out and canvassed the neighborhood.
There's one more house to knock on.
All right, there you go. Okay, that's good to know. And the other thing, that just a personal note, is that most of you know I'm in healthcare. I have one of my groups that is in Koreatown. It's the Seoul Medical Group, and they have a Covered California contract. They enrolled in their little group, which had like 4,800 going into it, over 1,000.
Wow.
That's Covered California Community Care Network. So we're involved with it at that end of it. It's a mess, but that's another story. I mean, just in terms of getting the eligibility reports and everything organized. So it's very, very successful. Doctors
And then,
coming around to liking it too.
and then on the reports from Covered California for the most recent to the deadline, we had 400,000. And then the number, I just heard this literally, and then the number of those that actually signed up for the April 15th deadline are 500,000. So that's 7 million. And just in California, we got another 500,000.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
7.5 million, and 500,000 more are going or on the April 15th deadline. Well, in California, we already have half of that.
Yeah, so nationally.
So nationally, yeah, that's just California. It was 500,000. Can you believe that? They made it in time for that April 15th deadline.
You all know that California is one of the success stories because we have the Medicaid rollover, Medi-Cal here, and we have the real successful exchange and the Covered California program with, in different counties, it's a different network, Health Net, Blue Cross Blue Shield, so a lot of players, and it's real popular.
It is. Well, who pays for the billboards? Who's seen the billboards around Long Beach?
Covered California.
Yeah, isn't that great?
And in Koreatown, they're in Korean too, so.
But then, yeah, the winner, the primary states are California, New York, and anybody got the third one? Kentucky. Can you believe that? They have a Democratic governor. That's why.
I see a hand back there, that is Laurel, yeah.
I was going to say, I was just glanced today when I got home from my activities that Mitch McConnell has come out saying that he suspects the number and he's hoping to roll back.
Oh, yeah.
Kentucky Connect.
I hope, I think we all hope that he loses behind this.
Oh, yeah.
And Perry in Texas, we're denying his population of people that need this.
Perry's an asshole, so.
Yeah, but there are people who live in Texas who aren't, and that they should vote him out of office. Anyway.
They're talking about suing him for
Shannon, you two have
anybody
done it?
dies.
Okay.
They're
Anybody
talking about
else?
suing
Okay.
him.
All right, Laura, would you please give us a presentation on an update of our goals and objectives?
I'd be happy to. Thank you for asking. Okay, so this is the time of year for this is the 4th year, actually, that we've done this. I only have 10 copies, so you're going to have to share. But what we're going to do for the next 10 minutes or so, hopefully it's not going to be belabored here, is to, I have to keep one, so go ahead and take one for everyone. What we're going to do is we are going to talk a little bit as a club about our mission and then our objectives for 2014. If you notice at the top of this is last year's, it's currently on our website, this is 2013. If you also notice, right under the mission statement, in the bottom right-hand corner, it says revised 5/8/2013, which means that we did it just about a year ago, okay? So, all I want to do is point out a few things, and then I'm going to give you a chance to get some input here, and then whatever input you give, we can just come with consensus. If we can't, we'll have to table this to our next meeting and make it longer and more complete, but I think we should be able to do it fairly quickly. And then whatever we can come up with, then I will make a stab at a draft and bring it back next time to see if we like it. So what we had decided to do, first of all, we created a mission statement about 3 years ago. 2 years ago, we revised it slightly, just a word or two. And that's there. You can take a look at it, kind of eyeball it as I'm talking. But what we're really going to look at are these 4 boxes. The 4 boxes are underneath the mission. The 4 boxes are what our group last year decided we wanted to put our efforts and focus on, as much as we knew last year. And it kind of makes you feel good because when we look at it, for example, Objective 1 continues to support local, state, and national progressive candidates and issues. Of course, we have done that. And I can't imagine we wouldn't continue to have that as an objective for 2014, but that's up for discussion. The next objective was continue to work with coalition groups to fully achieve implementation of MOPI initiatives in order to get the money out of politics. And so we have a group of people in our midst, and we currently have some legislation that has just been, I was hoping Cindy would be here to talk about it a little bit, just been brought forth by, who's the guy who brought it forth? David, which is to get the money out of politics, okay, and to put it up, make an initiative for the ballot for California. Okay, that has been very much alive and well all last year, and a whole bunch of people in our group have been part of that. By the way, going back to Objective 1, in terms of continuing to support state, local, and federal offices, obviously our debate fit right into that. And we had an active group for 4 months working very, very hard to get the debate between our mayoral debate between our 5 candidates that was presented on the 28th of February. Okay, Objective 3, jumping back again, was to continue outreach and coalition building efforts with other Democratic groups, state and national groups, in order to support progressive issues. I don't know how we've done on that. If we took the first part of our conversation tonight about, no, we've done that. We have done that. I don't know how active it's been, and I don't know. No,
local elections.
No, the Objective 1 and 2, but 3 is the one about outreach. Here, I can't. Okay, wait.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's outreach for other Democratic groups.
Can you read it? Just go ahead and read it.
Well, I did, but I'll read it aloud for people who don't know.
I just wanted to be able to respond to what you said.
Continue outreach. Objective 3. Continue outreach and coalition building efforts with local Democratic clubs, state and national groups, in order to support progressive issues and election of candidates.
I think to respond to that this club, officially as a club, has not done that, but your representatives have in outreach to the other clubs. You've heard tonight that's why we had an extensive report. A lot of us are members of more than one club, the study group. So it's not in this process, which gets to one of your next objectives of supporting local candidates. This is part of the process, part of being a Democrat. And just a minute, let me finish. And then the other thing is a couple of us have been involved in the state and national level at convention and endorsement processes. Yes.
No, but based on the fact that the LA County Committee, how many delegates we have, I really love the fact that we had 9 delegates with the LA County Committee to endorse locally a candidate for the Assembly. And that candidate for the Assembly, Suja Lowenthal, all those 9 people from our club actually sat down, and I love this. None of them are just going to be like, yeah, I'll endorse you. No, I need to sit down with you. We need to have a one-on-one. I need to see where you have, what you've done and where you want to take us. And I love all those people who were actually the delegates with that. They just walk in lockstep like the traditional Republicans, and they sat down with Suja, and Suja literally had to, I don't want to say fight her battle, but she just literally had to convey to them what she's done and where she's going to take it. And she, she ended up getting the endorsement by the 9, but that's something relative to that.
Okay, and so that's a good point. And in the way I look at it, well, I'll tell you, I'll say my piece in a minute about it, and then we can have at it. Okay, thank you for that, because that's good. So we've done that too. Objective 4, continue to register new voters, increase club membership, and build the club volunteer base with special emphasis to outreach to young, unaffiliated, and culturally diverse voters. Again, I don't know how you guys feel about that. I think there have been efforts for that. We have not done as much voter registration because last year was pretty hard to do. We have done some. Certainly, I think that's critical for now. We've got to, work on that between now and November this year, but that's just me speaking.
Let me just add a little bit to that for you too, because
for me or for us?
For us, but I mean, it's your agenda. But basically, Maria's not here tonight, but she ran several tabling efforts in the kid park on the website.
Right.
So we've made an effort to reach out to other communities beyond, the farmers market on the west.
Yeah, right.
So we've been on the west side of town. We've also, with our Cover California, we've been at the city health department on Grand and other locations throughout the
city.
And
at First Fridays, there have been also voter registrations as well.
Right.
Even though that's been more of an emphasis on Cover California,
but all of that, the secondary thing of everything we do, we table, and we're talking with Kathleen, who's I'm a voter registration person.
Great.
We've had our voter reg process in place in every function we have. It's a slow time for voter reg. It really is. It's been very slow. And I'll tell you, it's kind of odd, and an aside, the campaigns, part of their strategy, they don't want to get new people. They want to get the people who are already registered to come to vote, which is okay, but it's not in sync with what we
Not very in line with our.
Why? Because you don't want people
All right.
to vote.
Well,
register
so
and
the
vote
issue
for
is
other
this.
candidates.
Whenever,
Anyway, that is what
right,
we're doing.
thank you for that. So the point we're making is that when my bias for setting mission statements and objectives, for a lot of people it's probably you, but like all of you, I've had a background in certain kinds of public work, and I found that when you lay it out and you know what you're going toward, it just helps to move in the direction you need to go. So I always feel that the fewer the objectives, the better. So I do not advocate adding more objectives, but if you want to, you can. I'm merely the messenger. Don't throw tomatoes at me, but I'm just saying that I think to make it a workable document. What it needs is, it's kind of like looking at our bylaws. It's like, let's look at our mission statement and objectives and see how we're doing and what we want to do for 2014. Maybe tweaking these slightly to carry forth. Maybe there's a new one to add. I don't know. So this is your time to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Can I?
Oh, sure, Chris.
I don't think we should do anything because I think these are phenomenal. These actually are definitive and they're broad. Wait, does that exist?
Thank you for sharing. Now let's get someone else's opinion.
Oh, thanks for cutting me.
I'm trying to make it a conversation.
No, I agree with Chris on that. I think this looks very good. The only possible thing I could think of that might, now we kind of have it covered under membership, is trying to continue to expand our own club.
Right, under membership.
But that's what I said. That could be, grouped under membership to keep that.
Did I hear you say anything about local campaigns?
Well, continue to support local, state, and national progressive candidates and issues. Okay,
Here.
I think the only thing we need to update is under the operations, these people change.
yes, right,
Yeah,
right.
But that's all I
But
said.
the functions,
Other than that, I think
are
it's
the
great.
ones we can
Okay.
go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, Stella.
Just to kind of throw this out there, does Yes We Can ever want to become an organization that actually prepares and grooms candidates?
Interesting.
That's an interesting point.
That's a very good point.
I would
I don't know.
say we already do. Subconsciously.
Well, I think we certainly have an influence on candidates.
Yeah,
Those of us who are working with candidates.
Tell me more about what you mean.
Well, like for example, the Victory Fund endorsed me.
Right.
I attended some training 2 years ago with them. A very thorough process. It was a 2.5-day training event. And they give you
The one here in Long Beach?
Yeah. So they give you background on, how to start your campaign, funding.
Camp Goldstone, but it's.
Yeah.
It's aimed at the LGBT candidates.
Exactly. And so it just occurred to me, why couldn't we do something like that? Maybe you pilot, just a small little tiny program, right? Where you identify someone that, regular member that has aspirations for running for office, and so you start, connecting them to this training or providing them with this type of training.
I think
Well, Stella, you're only one.
not one.
I love it.
I think I'll see you next week.
Yes.
I think it's
Would you like to share that?
I think we
No,
have-
I do. I'm really interested in
Would
doing
you like
we
to?
might
She's
be
small. Yeah, no, but Wednesday after.
No, I think if you're willing to take that on, I'll entertain, the chair will entertain a motion.
Well, wait a minute, we're not done yet. Just hold it.
Yeah, hold on. Get a grip
All
on your
right.
Fruit of the Looms, okay?
Don't wear those.
Well, get a grip on whatever you wear.
All right, wait, I want to hear, is there anyone else,
Line.
anyone else who has anything else to add? Oh, yes,
Since
Shannon.
it's an election year, maybe we should be going, and get out
Hi,
there
Susan.
and going door to door, that kind of stuff.
You can't sneak out.
All right, so
coming on.
One of the things that, the way we set up the chart was to have our objectives, and then instead of having everyone repeat what activities they would do, we made this box down here. But I kind of thought that, Shana, was a little bit, we didn't, for 2013, it was a little less of an emphasis. So I do think GoTV needs to be in here somewhere.
Wait, I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so it can either be down here, or
It needs to be down where you're referring to.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put
GeoTV. Get off the vote.
Get off the vote.
Excellent.
Yeah, okay, anybody else?
Yes.
Yes, Martin?
I just thought of something because she brought up a very good one. And we kind of have it in a way, but education, because the thing that I keep bumping into, there's so many people that, oh, it's too complicated, and I start worrying about what's going on with the people that are actually doing the voting.
Information voters.
That is, Margie, that is actually, I would say that would go under number 4. And I think
Yeah, I
that's a
just
good
put it,
point.
I just put it.
Education.
Yeah.
I put, yeah.
You know what's really important, I think, is a little sidebar on adding
Yeah.
GoTV. You know, we have a lot of emphasis on getting people registered. We do really pretty much nothing
Zero.
about getting them out to vote.
That's
And,
yeah,
you know,
that's a
and
good
if we
one.
can either do it with the campaigns and the cycles or independently of the campaigns and the cycles, there may be some folks who would prefer to do this without being part of a campaign. Just generalize getting people
Well,
out to vote.
I mean, for 2012, we certainly did do
Well,
GOTV.
we were doing a presidential.
I mean, yeah, right, and we were,
Oh,
look
God,
around, every one of us was there.
Yeah,
But, well, just one sec.
Okay.
The words were just coming out to finish, but the point being that, now I forgot what I was, no, I didn't really, I remember. The whole idea is that we need to beef that up, I think, somehow by either just our own efforts or by connecting with other groups to be sure that we do participate in GoTV.
Right.
Okay, yes.
This may be a naive question, but aren't there precinct committee persons and captains whose job it is to do that? And
Yes.
So is...
In the campaigns.
Okay.
Well, and I don't want to take time with this, but
We'll wait. Start
are the
over.
clubs the vehicles by which people become precinct workers,
So
precinct
we're 26.
people, or is that just the central committee of the county?
Well, the way it works now is your campaigns, like Stella's campaign, has broken out the district into precincts, and they have precinct walks. The Garcia campaign is doing more on a phone basis, but they have paid canvassers who are doing precinct.
So you don't have elected or appointed precinct committee people?
No, we don't.
Oh,
and the reason this club never really does that presidential cycle is we're not campaigning for president in California. We're doing phone banks in other states, and sometimes we do trips to other states. Because California is a given blue in a presidential, so we become the Air Force, if you will, by that. However, we've done some precinct work certainly for Al Monthal for congressman and supported his work. We've signed up to support our endorsed candidate for Congress in the red and blue that the Christmas Committee works on, Pete Aguilar, and their ground campaign. They're waiting for us to get through our cycle in April. I've told them that we will start talking to folks who are interested in doing groundwork to go up to Redlands, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, after the April election, so we can begin right away in the weekends to do voter reg. Okay, and we talked a little bit about that, I think, on the phone, about area work, and then to do actual precinct work for that campaign in that area, so boots on the ground, because it's close enough.
And that fits under our goal of continuing to support.
And it's federal, because again, our focus is.
Well, and then we worked with, when OFA was OFA and organizing for Obama, and we some of us were trained, and we did, we ran not precincts, we ran the call centers and things like that. A lot of us in this room did that. So, okay, well then, I'm hearing that what we do for 2014, and I'll rough this out and add a few things for next time, but we keep our mission statement. Maybe while we carry on with the meeting, you can read it over to see if it still meets what you think our Cub's about. Took us a while, like I said, I wanted to put that little caveat in there that we have tweaked it a few times, and
A lot of work is going in.
I actually think it's pretty good right now. I mean, it's pretty encompassing, but still a word or two or a phrase, because like the word education is up there, as someone pointed out, and I think that's necessary. We can repeat it again. So it looks like what the consensus is that we want 4 objectives again. We want one on supporting the candidates, state, federal, local. We want another to continue with MOBI. We want which for some of us think it's like essential. We want another to continue outreach. And then the third to increase the membership, new voters, and volunteer base.
I would just amplify what you just said under the section about promoting candidates and campaigns, the new aspect that Stella raised.
Yeah. And I've added, thanks for reminding me, to possible training or recruitment of new candidates, as well as GoTV, and adding a little bit more in education.
Okay, good.
Great.
You guys have it?
Yay!
Yay. On the education part, it's educate voters, educate citizens, educate the public.
Citizens is
Yeah,
what I was
okay,
getting
all
at.
right.
One of the things I was thinking about, and I'm not sure if maybe somebody can give me some ideas, is, have informal meetings at I would be willing to, like, once every month or two, have a group, something to get people.
Oh, we discussed that last night.
Yeah.
Actually, remember, Margie, during a committee meeting.
Yeah.
Because there's this.
No. That's one.
That's still that can ignite, like our founding fathers did this.
Well, I mean, we have done as a group in 2012. We've held some meetings over the years since I've been involved, community type meetings and others that we could try and consider. All right. So the final thing I want to say is, if this works well, we have our 4 objectives. Then we end up having a committee chair of each.
Oh, looks like you're pointing to something different. Turn them all there. I had to. From here, she's all behave. Sorry, I apologize, lady.
4 objectives. Each one will have a committee chair, and then those committee chairs is responsible for pulling a group together to talk about the issues about how they're going to be implemented. Then those same committee chairs come and make reports on our agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
I think that the report and the discussion did lead to an action item, and I'd like to hear a motion from the floor to create a candidate grooming development committee.
Make the motion.
Okay, is there a second? Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor? Opposed?
Grooming committee.
Is there a motion to appoint, as Stella says, as the chair of the committee? As the president, I can do it. Is there a motion to ratify? Is there a motion to ratify the president's appointment? That's the process. Second? All right. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right. Okay. MOBI, Cindy's not here. We had a little bit of report on that. Is there any more information for anyone on the MOBI committee? We know that Ted Lieu is moving some legislation forward. We need to watch that.
Carol, I don't know if you remember the date. There's just going to be a conference.
Oh, the USL conference.
Actually, Maria has called me on that right now, and I have a little report on that.
Okay.
There, 4/26/2014, the UCLA conference, and there will be activism against the McCutcheon University FDC. And on 4/18 here at Roberson's house, we're going to have a button making committee to make buttons, and we're going to do the artwork for that. So that's 4/18. So everybody in this room has to be here on 4/18.
Got it?
You'll send an email.
I don't care, cancel your plan.
We have 2 machines. Take a machine with you.
Oh, okay.
All right.
We're making buttons.
brother
You
has to
guys-
make buttons.
This is, everybody knows, this is huge, guys.
It's like making tamales. It's a lot of fun.
It's fun, but come on, guys.
We get
This-
drunk and we make all sorts of weird
If you
buttons.
talk about, if they say it's
Some people make
pro-democracy,
them upside down.
anything that dismantles democracy is money. Dismantles democracy. Come on, we got it. Everybody needs to get involved in this.
Yesterday.
So that's why we're doing this. I'm gonna be here that Friday at 14. Who else is gonna be here to make buttons?
I guess I have to deliver.
And Christ, I'll be there on 4/26 up there with buttons, handing them out, and screaming at the top of my lungs.
The meeting on the 26th is a follow-up meeting from last year on the 28th.
I might come on.
What's it? Carol, is the repeal of 28th?
Like 6 p.m.
Or is it the
Somebody
28th?
email remind me.
Something with the 28th. I'm not
We're gonna set it out.
Anyway, it's a very specific process to move Moby and move to a.
Sounds right.
Okay? All right, and it's very informative. A lot of important people are there in that.
So that's nicely.
And after that nonsense yesterday from the Supreme Court, it's even more important.
Oh,
that.
Okay. All right, membership. Carol, do we have any update on membership?
Well, according to, according to the list that's been posted, the list says we have 42 members, but then Maria highlighted 7 of them where she couldn't verify that they actually made their payment, so I'm not sure where that stands.
Yeah, can I elaborate on that?
I think we need to tighten up the process on,
Yes, we
you
do.
know, membership payments and things.
Right.
Can I-
For example, Robert Garcia said he would pay and paid yet, so we know who they are. There are 4 or 5 that need to be.
Okay, relative to that, our process right now is that anybody's depositing money in the account, and I've been contacting farmers and merchants who's our financial depository. And they are, honestly, God, you guys, I was floored by this. I put specific dates and specific deposits and all this jazz on a piece of paper. I went to the one in Belmont Shore and sat there with the teller and I said, I need to know what the deposit's value was on these dates, and I need to see a copy of the checks. Not the checks I write. I write the checks for the club. I have copies of all that jazz, but the checks that people have written for membership to become part of this club, or checks that they've made contributions to donations. And I said, here, and this is why I'm seriously thinking about getting rid of farmers and merchants. And I gave them this list with dates, and I'm sitting there with the teller, and she says, I'll be right back. And she's like, well, I can't access this from the teller. And I said, well, there's a manager here. And it was Saturday, you know. I was there for an hour and a half, and then she went to the manager, and the manager was like, our computers are down, we can't do it right now. But Monday morning, we will, and I had a piece of paper like this, I had dates, and, you know, I had it like a spreadsheet. I was like, this is what I need. Then she calls me Monday morning, we can't access this information.
Yeah,
so the person that set up the account, I emailed him and said, this is ludicrous. I'm going to jail. But, I'm the treasurer of this club with the FEC in the state if I don't have this information. I have to file this. And then he's like, well, and I said, can I come by on Saturday? Well, I don't work on Saturdays.
Well, is that our former treasurer?
No, this is farmers and merchants.
Our former treasurer's in jail.
They cannot, and this is the difficulty that we're having right now, is multiple people are making deposits, and
our former treasurer's actually keeping a jail set ready.
She's wearing orange polyester right now.
Why don't we consider changing to a credit union?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
My company,
but Long Beach Schools Federal Credit Union, which I'm a member of,
I'm a member of that.
but they don't have business accounts. I tried.
New Vision.
First National.
Okay, I didn't know what credit union does have
New
business
Vision.
accounts.
We have a business.
the chair recognizes the chair. I'm a member of Southland. I just found out about my company. It's called Southland. The Southland Credit Union, and it partners with companies, so I'm pretty sure we can get a commercial account with them.
Okay.
I will talk to them, and it'll be free. We definitely need to get a bank that's more modern. But in the meantime, he's talking about older stuff that we don't have. The new things, the new stuff that's going on now.
With the kitty jerky.
Yeah, those are, yeah.
Yeah, we have your chance.
Yeah, we got our money back, so we're lucky. Anyway, so basically what we're doing now, we have a process, it's a fairly new process, where the checks that get deposited by me are scanned. They are sent to membership, they're sent to steward, and they're sent to treasurer, okay? So the physical copy of the check, this is fairly new, since January. So we have a process, but we should also have a bank that can give us that.
Literally, honestly, guys.
It's a little bit hard to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, this day and age.
Yeah, because you can pull up copies.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Okay, red to blue, so.
Red to blue, Pete Aguilar, 31st Congressional District.
Thank you for that. And then? That's it. We had
wait, we already said that he got the endorsement of the.
We had a really nice lunch meeting with them at convention. And as I said, we talked to our Newfield guy, Juan, and we will be doing cooperative.
Okay, but there
those of you,
I just want to ask one
Lily's still here?
What?
Okay, she wants to travel. Go ahead.
We're going to go out to Riverside with Chris, drive with Chris and.
I'll pay for the hotel room for everybody.
All right, what is the latest, like, in 10
I
words?
can't hear you.
In 10 words, what are Pete's chances out there now?
He is the endorsed candidate of the Democratic Party and the DCCC.
Yes?
That's less than 10 words, that's enough.
Well,
And he has $500,000.
Well, let me tell you, I'll tell you the dynamics of it. Right now, here's what's transpired out there, is Pete Aguilar is the mayor of Redlands. Miller is a sitting congressman who's a Republican. Miller, because of the chances of him getting reelected are zero, is not running for reelection. That's as of 2 months ago. So now I believe it's Miller's chief of staff within his congressional office is running. But most recently, a month and a half before the convention, which was 3 weeks ago, another Democrat came into the race, which a lot of people feel the energy because she's a female candidate. But Pete is endorsed by most and has a substantial. And we don't know Pete. Remember we met Pete?
Yeah.
The candidate he's talking about is Latina. She is presenting herself as the progressive alternative. She has gotten some write-up from some of the PDA, Progressive Democrats of America, a couple of other progressive blogosphere folks. But other than that, has no traction, doesn't come up to anything. She wasn't at convention. She was at convention. She was invisible.
Yeah.
Come around.
Here's the concern, everybody, is the reason that we have a 12% spread, or 12% voter advantage. There are Democrats. And what happened last time was, most people know, the 3 Democrats split it and dropped it, so 2 Republicans in the California primary came to the top. We have a Republican and Democratic seat. So now again, it's kind of, wow, is this going to happen again between 2 Democrats and a Republican? So it's going to be, it could possibly be a Democrat and Republican running there. So we as a Red and Blue committee who's on it, I'm just going to have a committee meeting before our next general meeting. We'll sit and discuss this and see what we're going to do.
To give you an idea of a tangible count idea, the room next to the one we were in with for Suja's nomination, he was going through Pete was going through the same process with this competing candidate. He won with 78%.
Wow.
Which is huge.
You know, he needed 60, so it was a pretty overwhelming support with rank and file Democrats. Does that mean he has the election sewn up? No. But that means that he's got as much support, a lot of support, let's put it that way. And the DCCC has moved into the red to blue.
Because here's a demographic right now, and this is why I've been pushing on the Red and Blue Committee to just, let's focus on California as opposed to what we did in 2012, was focus all over the nation. Is right now, sitting congresspeople we had elected in California were 5. They were Republican districts, we changed to Democrat. 4 of those people are fine. There's only 1 that is not, and it's our friend Julia Brownlee,
That's
up in the Ventura, Camarillo area. So that's our Keep It Blue. And then the Democratic, the DCCC, the Red and Blue Committee, came up with 4 new ones about a year ago. And then most recently, 2 months ago, they came up with another 4. So we have a total of candidates, Republican seats in California. There's a total of 8 seats. There's 8 seats in California, but there's one we have to keep of the 5 from 2012. So now there's 8 seats that we have the potential in our 52. We have 52 congressional seats in California. We can gain another 8 in California.
We're not proposing that this club take
all of them.
5 more seats. We'll take one of each, thank you.
My point being is our fights in California.
We could win, not win it, we could have a substantial influence on
Okay,
the
guys,
House.
what about national?
That is national.
No, that is national.
Well, that's the influence over
Yeah.
national.
Oh, for the state
Because-
of California,
well,
but I mean, I'm talking at the House of
We're
Representatives.
talking about House of
No, that is
Representatives.
the House of Representatives.
The lion's share of them can be done. in
Because here's what happened in 2010, even though we lost all those seats in 2010, we have in California, we kept all of our state constitutional seats. And all those state constitutional seats are up again for re-election. So a lot of Democrats are going to come out to vote in California. So we have to voter reg and all this jazz for
We're running along here, and
Sorry, yeah, good night, you guys.
what I'd like to do before everybody leaves is we have to have the drawing.
Yeah, but you have 4 minutes.
Before if they win. Keep it running. Okay. Here's something I would like for us as general to consider doing. It's easy. It will be painless. I suggest that someone make a motion
We're going to do a cartwheel.
that we, as a Yes We Can Democratic Club, vote to endorse our congressional and state constitutional offices that are not contested. So I'm talking about Helen, Janice, Governor Brown, Kamala Harris, and I believe
Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom, and that's it. The rest are contested.
Yeah, Tom Tarkelson, he's not for.
Tom. So is everybody agree to do that?
Yes.
Because I think that fulfills our objective.
What is the, yes, I'm fine behind, but what is the benefit for that?
Oh, I think it's just a matter of publicizing that we're supporting the
We just
ticket.
have one more group to add to
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Is there another Democrat against Derek Cressman now that you live in?
Yes. Yes.
Preston?
Well, Cressman is running against.
He was running against Leland Yee, the guy who just got.
There's 3 though, there's another guy, the
Yeah.
Latino.
Padilla.
Padilla.
Yeah, that's contested. I don't think we can do that.
Yeah,
Let's not do that.
3 Democrats, yeah.
And Alex is.
I met him. I had him a sticker on my back. He's really cool.
He's a Rosenthal.
Yeah. So I think it would be nice if we could do that, but I don't think we have
No,
time.
it's
We can also,
contested.
but wait a minute, we can put him through our process,
We can.
because that will be a
Exactly, that's
June, November. So I just think, let's endorse the uncontested, just to be in sync with the party and publicize. Okay?
I'll make a motion to do that.
All right. Wait, motion first, we have a second? Now
I
discussion.
second.
Discussion.
Could that
Laurel
include
seconds.
Lois Capps if she's not contested, but I don't know. if
She could be, I wasn't talking about our delegation, but yeah, we could definitely do Lois, of course. And I think we haven't endorsed Brownlee, I think we should endorse Brownlee.
Okay, let's put her in.
Brownlee and Lois Capps.
Can I make an amendment to that, to add Julia Brownlee?
Yes.
Only Democrat running in
that district, and that's, and she's, keep it blue, and actually Lois should be keep it blue.
she's our keep it blue and Lois is our keep
Yeah,
it blue.
she's
Lois
great,
Capps.
great gal. All right, so we have a motion, second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Done. Okay. Drawing.
So, let's, did you make sure it's in the minutes, but we just.
Right, all those
So it's all
endorsements.
uncontested constitutional.
Including Brownlee? Yeah.
All right, shh. Come on.
Because he's the one.
Oh, you just shut up.
I'm sorry, good.
Have a margarita.
Yeah, really.
Okay, I'm sorry, Margie, go ahead.
One of, sorry,
Here, have a-
one of the things, I was here last night, we were talking about, and I would like to get some feel for how many of you might be interested in meeting once a month on the weekend for lunch to just talk politics, not,
No, I get mad enough.
you know, just.
National memo.
And, you know, in trying to figure out how this would work, I think we have to kind of sit like in groups of 4, and then maybe, you know, each month you move around to a different group.
With a different
Or
issue.
else, I'm not sure.
Margie, different issue, different table.
Everybody in
There you
favor of that?
go.
We're not
That's
going
really
through the whole
cool.
process.
And I would like to, because I'm very concerned about my being able to, I'm gonna keep up with what's trying to go.
Chair, President nominates, appoints Margie to be the organizer for this. We also talked that this might evolve to something like a formal chapter of drinking liberally.
Yeah.
It could be,
That's the
How about eating liberally?
Yeah, but right now it's a club thing, so we might want to expand it. All right, any other discussion on the motion? Excuse me, a motion to ratify the appointment? Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Well, we got a lot done today.
And you know what? It might be a good way, from what you said, to get new members in.
Yeah.
You can bring a friend.
And that just hit me. I mean.
And there are a lot of people that, not a lot, there are several people, longtime club members, just a minute, who have said, can't we just get together? We try to do it at these meetings, but it's already quarter.
Yeah, it's too.
So if you have a full agenda, can't we just get together sometime, just talk politics?
Yeah, just, and make it, I think it needs to be.
Do it over lunch, have it fun, yeah.
Can I say something real quick? This is what I was trying to bring up last night, because when Margie brought it up last night, I was like, oh my God, one of my favorite founding fathers, he did that in Philadelphia. And I was like, I can't remember what his club was called, but I just looked it up right now. And it was the Junto Club. The Junto Club was a club for mutual improvement. Junto? Thank you. The Junto Club.
He's not from California.
The Junto Club was a club for mutual improvement established in 1927 by Benjamin Franklin in Philadelphia. Also known as the Leather Apron Club. Its purpose was to debate questions.
Okay, calm down.
Its purpose was to debate questions of morals, politics, and natural philosophy as to exchange knowledge of business affairs.
And
thank you, Margie.
All right, drawing.
Do the drawing.
Oh, this is real quick. Let me elaborate.
No more quick.
Real quick. Franklin organized a group of friends to propose a structure of mutual improvement. Come on.
That's what
Mouth shut.
All right, we do this last thing. No further interruptions.
Give me a card.
Yes, one more comment.
Okay,
I got 697177.
All right.
I propose that the entire pot goes to Stellar or POA. Yes.
All in favor? All right.
And it's a total of $40. Yes.
All right. We have one last hand up. Wait a minute before we adjourn. Quickly, Eileen.
Yes. I wanted to mention that a few weeks or months ago, I sent a copy of the current membership list to the officers of this club. And if you want a copy, you don't have to, I'll send it to you. We only have about 28 members officially according to that count who are on the list.
We've augmented that a bit because there were some records that didn't get to you. It's now 42, but like Carol's report, I think there's 6 that we haven't collected the money yet. So thank you for the work, and I think let's have a recognition of Eileen's work as a member of the Thank you very much.
And I would like to say that Eileen has been a kick-ass Democrat.
Yeah.
So yes, we can Democratic.
Here. Okay, Chair will entertain.
Sit there.
Good night.
Yeah.
Good meeting, gang. Thank you.